Hey, Facebook actually started on its own here, After.
Really?
Yeah, Faces on the
Kind of don't believe it, but okay.
All right. Think we're up on everything.
Good. All right. Looks like we're up and running on our round 85 live Q&A, live chat, platinum session.
Plat-
What are we calling it? Well, it will be soon.
Soon.
Dynamic plus hour. I don't know. We don't have a good name for this, but I'm Javad Shadzi, the CEO of 034 Motorsport, and this is Nate Stewart, the Director of Engineering and all things software and printer fixing.
Less and less. That's Andy's job.
Thankfully, yeah. We're here to answer all your automotive and 034 Motorsport related questions. We're happy to answer questions about other things. Happy to talk about our past, our experience. We've been around for a while. We've pretty much seen it all. And so we're happy to give no BS responses to any question you'd like to ask us. And we already have a nice queue of questions coming in.
A good call for some of you guys on YouTube. We're getting some questions in early. It certainly doesn't hurt. We've already got them in the queue.
We'll talk about the turbo in the engine compartment this week. Is the video we teased yesterday, which was a 10.1 second draggy run in our in-house B9 S4 development car with the TTE 710. It's about all the information we're releasing. This is a tease.
Yep.
Some people are asking, about weight reduction and official this and that, and this is just a tease. We're just trying to get the juices flowing. Fortunately, it's generated a ton of excitement, which is our goal. It's kind of the purpose of marketing, is to intrigue customers and spark their imagination, and I believe we've done that. So, bottom line, this is signaling that we have. There's 9-second B9 S4s daily driver. Your wife or grandma can have a 9-second B9 S4 if she'd like. Very reliable OEM type driving experience with just 3 times more power.
Yeah.
So very cool. Feel free to ask any questions. Again, if you want specific details, this isn't a world record run, or we're not submitting this officially for anything. This is just a fun teaser run.
It is a world record. It is the world record time currently, but we are not done.
That wasn't why we posted it. It's a teaser. It's just to generate interest. It does happen to be a world record for a draggy run. Take it for what it's worth.
Yep.
And there's plenty more coming, which is the exciting part. So. I saw a lot of comments about B8 S4 owners, lamenting the quickness of the B9 S4. And listen, we don't make the rules. We don't create the physics behind these cars, and I don't see B8 S4s being able to keep up with B9 S4s. Certainly not B9 RS5s as development and the platform continues to unfold. We got involved in B9 tuning pretty strong about 6 months ago, and we're gonna rock the industry for B9 tuning. So, the existing tuners out there probably have no idea what's hitting them, because we are accelerating literally with these products and services, and we happen to be very excited about what we can do for this platform. But I don't know what we could do for the B8 with the super, with that stock.
We've got some tricks up our sleeve that are happening, but
there'll be marginal increases in power and acceleration. B8s will continue to get quicker. The good news is, if you've already put a bunch of money and time into your B8 S4, you can still go faster with it, and you will be able to this year.
Yep.
With new products that we're coming out with and tuning. But I think it's just a matter of time before B9s are in the 8s and stuff with relatively.
They're just going to get quicker.
Relatively light. I mean, our car with a full drag setup on it, with a 1.3 second 60 foot or something like that, would be very, very fast, even with the power it has now. And there's a lot more power available too. So, anyways, exciting time. If you're a B8 owner, either take stock in what you're able to do and how much more you want to put into it. I know some people are already talking about selling their cars and stuff like that too. So also not a bad option.
I mean, if outright power is what you're looking for, it's going to be hard to beat a turbo V6 compared to supercharged. But I would strongly suggest driving one and trying to get some seat time behind them. They're very different cars.
Very different.
The B8 still has a lot going for it, over the B9 and some of the driving aspects. So, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm sure there's more coming, but more questions coming. But that was kind of the initial. Just putting that out there. So let's jump into some stuff here. Someone says we should call the live chats 2 car guys, 1 mic.
Okay.
Yeah, there is only 1 microphone.
There's actually 4 in there, so
there used to be 2 microphones.
You did.
Just 1 on each.
Right. Yeah, and it was worse.
We sure know.
Go figure. 034 Motorsport needs an OnlyFans with videos of future developments. I would pay for that.
Well, we're giving it to you now for free, basically.
That's true, yeah. I mean, it is kind of like an OnlyFans. I mean, not everyone tunes into this stuff. How does a Stage 3 B9 S4 drive on track? Is there such thing as too much power for the chassis? We honestly haven't spent much time driving that car on the track yet.
We're still in the development phase of the calibrations.
There is absolutely such a thing as too much power for a chassis or for the track. And then the main issue is the power band and how usable is it. So, it's tempting to, and this is I think I've talked about this before with DAZA tuning, is you have guys with these huge large frame turbos making 900 wheel, and the static dyno run looks like the power and torque are comparable to a smaller turbo car, but big turbos are inherently laggier. They take longer to spool up. They spool down faster and they take longer to spool up. So generally, the kind of power that we're creating with Stage 3 would be good on certain types of tracks, especially if you had a wide body with lots of tire, so you could actually use it. But on a relatively stock, you take a bone stock S4 and you throw a Stage 3 kit on it, you're probably not doing yourself any favors for the average track day car. But because I mean, even our Stage 1 E85 makes a ton of power.
Yeah. I mean, that's a tough one to answer. I think the chassis certainly can handle obviously the power we're at now. It's going to come down to your setup. What are you running for? Brakes for tires.
But by chassis, it's
for
brakes and tires.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can put some 305s all around, and you can put some big track brakes on it, then sure, you can use a lot of power. This setup's not laggy by any means, but it's laggier than the stock turbo. But we'll give you more impressions in the future. I don't think there'll be anything preventing Stage 3 use on track.
No. Oh God. We will have it up there.
There's questions coming in about B9 RS5 tuning. We are working on that, and it's very exciting as well. Yep. We haven't teased anything, but
it's a photo of our car on the dyno.
Actually, I just saw that. Yep.
On our Instagram, there is a photo of our B9 RS5. If you want to check that out.
I was driving it yesterday, logging. Nick's working on it right now. So we are in the middle.
And we did some dragging runs that were very fast, very very pleasing. So it's going to be awesome, and definitely stay tuned over the next few weeks and months. I think we'll be able to release something before long, but definitely we'll release more information over the next few weeks as things continue to unfold. But it's very exciting. So if you're a B9 RS5 owner, hang in there. Good things are coming for you. And of course, the RS5 has been eclipsed by the S4 with tuning. But once you put tuning on the RS5, the RS5 is back in the driver's seat. So the RS5 just has a lot more turbo to offer stock.
Yes.
The stock turbos, the twin turbo setup produces much more flow than the single S4 turbo. That's the main difference. Mm-hmm. The 2.9 liter is roughly the same as far as power potential goes. Any research into the difference between the B9 RS5 trans versus the B9 S4 trans for torque capability?
Nothing we've honestly
I'm not
need
aware
to.
of any differences.
I couldn't speak to that off the top of my head.
They have different part numbers.
Yeah, well, everything's got a different part number for your tag. It doesn't mean anything.
But that could just mean they're flashed.
until you dig into the internals.
Yeah, I don't think we have any reason to believe that the torque handling power is any
I believe they're
different.
different gear ratios too, so I think
Yeah, but
that
they
in
should.
and of itself is going to be.
The S4 transmission is an 8 HP 55, and the RS5 is an 8 HP like 65 or some shit like that.
So no, we haven't had any need to dig into these at a mechanical level to drill down into the exact changes between the two, just because we've been remapping them and had no issues so far.
Any word on aftermarket injectors for B9 RS5? And will we be supporting the ARTEK Billet manifold and MPI kit for the B9?
We'll support what we need to for the given.
We're looking at that kit. Information just coming out about it, well, the injectors will release more information as we need to. I think we'll stay away from port injection as long as we can.
Yeah, no, if there's not a reason,
reason.
if we're able to get the fuel delivery we need out of the direct injection, we always will. So yeah, I mean, the ECU is going to have the ultimate level of control by doing direct injection at all times if we can do it and get the fuel we need.
B9 Q5 2.0T developments. So generally speaking, our B9 2.0T developments, we put in the budget this year to bring one of those cars in-house, like an A4.
Yep. Yeah, so the A4 and the Q5 essentially share the same platform at the ECU level. So we will be working on an A4 variant of that.
This isn't something we're going to release like in the next few weeks, but our goal will be to release something this year.
Yeah.
And so hang tight, stay in there. Hang in there. We get these questions like every week.
Sorry, somebody just a question I feel like we should probably answer. Any chance of uploading your map to a JB4 for my B9.5 S4?
That's not how
That's not how JB4s work. So all of these piggybacks, they're not mapped. They're not maps. They don't do anything within the ECU. They're extremely limited on what functionality they can alter within the engine. What they are doing is interfacing the various sensors on the motor and essentially misreporting those sensors to the ECU. So the ECU thinks it's making X amount of boost, and in reality, the actual amount of air going into the motor is generally more. That has a ton of side effects. Things, all of your torque reporting is going to be incorrect in the ECU. All of your fuel delivery is off, so then they have to try and lie about the fuel pressures and delivery systems if it's if that's even an option on some of the piggybacks. Generally, you have massive fuel trims on most of them. None of your timing maps are going to be able to be altered, other than what alteration you get by lying with the boost control, which then puts it into a more dangerous spot because now you have more timing for more boost, which is the opposite of what you need to do. So there's a lot of inherent things that a piggyback is never going to be able to do, and it will never replace a ECU agreement.
The JB4 is not like a handheld ECU flasher or anything like that. It's a very dumb, simple device, and I'm going to be bold and say anyone who's watching this, if you have a JB4 on your car or any kind of tuning box, for the love of God, take it off your car and flash with a reputable ECU tune.
Yeah.
There's just no reason for using that type of product now. Now, 3 years ago when there was no ECU tuning, sure, JB4s were great.
It was all you could do.
They cleaned up. Tuners like us were sitting on our hands waiting for.
Yeah, we had to work out the encryption and compression.
Yeah,
we were getting into the ECU and all that.
So they played their part. Those days are over. The JB4 is a crude and it's not a very reliable device. I'm not here to say that they're blowing up engines or anything. But I don't know how they're not.
Yeah, no matter how. Yeah, there's a lot of OEM safeties that can.
Yeah.
No matter how good a piggyback is, it's always going to be a band-aid or a poor way to get more power out of a platform, and a lot of that comes down to things like shift quality. Fuel delivery is hugely incorrect on a lot of these. You'll see things like 30% fuel trims anytime you're in boost because ECU thinks it's making like 15-20% less boost than it really is.
Yeah.
And I've seen very dangerous situations where people go out, particularly when motors, cool or cold and not up to temp yet, and the O2 sensors aren't online, and they try and go do rips down the street, and they have far less fuel than they should.
Yeah. So, anyways, we probably talked about that, but yeah,
Not the same.
not even close. In fact, the JB4 you can't even flash anything to it.
No, you can remap some of them. They have different curves,
They do
profiles
have-
and things, but
it's real basic.
It's different mappings. But literally, again,
It's not-
you're the only thing you can do is lie to the ECU about what the signals coming out of the sensors are. That's your constraint.
You can't flash an ECU firmware
No,
to a JB4.
yeah, you can't. There's no rev limiters changing. There's no. Yeah,
There's not even a processor that would accept it.
Yeah.
Any updates to the possibility of a flex fuel tune for the B9? How about B8? As we've discussed, we have the technology to do it. It's just a matter of priority.
Yeah.
And flex fuel is a nice, convenient feature, but flex fuel doesn't produce 10.1, quarter mile runs or brand new RS5 tunes or B9 2.0 T tunes or all the other stuff that we're doing. So we are not prioritizing those convenience features at this time, but we're not saying no, but are they a priority? Definitely not. And
much less so than getting you a good these base tunes. We call them base tunes, but these world record setting, whatever, the fully highly developed calibrations, we want to get that done and nailed first. Then we'll work on these convenience features if there's development room for it.
any ETN pump gas power figures for stage 2 plus B8 3.0 T? Why don't we have that?
Every single time we try to do it.
Yeah, there was
thing.
some stupid thing.
Pack.
Yeah, it was always fake. We'll get them up. Honestly, the pump gas numbers are not that much bigger than the normal stage 2 because it becomes octane limited on those platforms. So E40 is really where it shines, and that's why we highlight that. On the 2 plus, the 2 plus 91 and 93, I personally don't see it making a ton of sense, just because it's a lot more heat and not a lot of extra, go if you're limited on to 91 and 93 at all times.
Any update on ZTF flow formed wheels colors? Yes. Very exciting. We are receiving production samples imminently. Have we talked about the colors we decided on?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me write it down.
I leave the color stuff to other people who are much better at it.
Joel and I are kind of old
I'm colorblind as far as I can see
silver to gray is kind of my my spectrum for wheel colors.
So we have these are the colors that we will be supporting initially with Flowformed. We will evaluate the demand and continue to go from there. Satin black, bronze, the current color that we offer, which is anthracite, and hyper silver. So there will be 4 color options. So that's exciting. And thanks to the lower cost of Flowform wheels, we can buy more inventory and we can do that. And then we will have our 18 by 8.5 ET45 fitments, which is pretty much universal Volkswagen Audi, but
Yeah, it's like all the small
fits
chassis, the GTI.
a lot of Audis and stuff, smaller chassis Audis, and our 19 by 9.3, which is specifically designed to fit the B8 and B9 chassis, like the S4. Those will be the first 2 offerings that we bring, and then there'll be plenty more. And then these will be a much lower price point than our forged wheels. We will actually roll out a new naming convention for our wheels to account for the forged or flow formed construction, and the flow form wheels will be much more competitively priced to other flow form wheels that you're used to seeing from U-Speed and companies like that. So.
Someone is asserting that because we don't have 66,000 other people watching our live stream, that we've paid for fake followers.
Say what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, we paid for the 100 people that are watching?
He's saying that since there's only 35 people watching and we have 66,000 followers, that we've obviously paid for fake followers.
Oh, on the main channel. No.
Live video events like this are obviously live. There's only a certain window of time you can watch it. During a work day, it's going to be a very limited amount of viewership compared to just a video that you upload at a peak viewing time or whatever you want to call it. But we're not expecting tens of thousands of people to be watching this live. What these are for are the people that want to check in. They if you set up time to watch this and ask us questions and get some feedback, and then we keep the videos on YouTube. We go through and index them. We pull clip outs for you. So
if we wanted tens of thousands of people watching, I'd just talk about the shit Joe Rogan.
Yeah, and we'd have commercial breaks to actually make money on it.
Just make shit up and lie about stuff.
It says since Snoop Dogg gets 18,000 people, we should be able to get 50.
Oh,
I think this guy's just trolling.
Yes, that might be something.
We don't pay for fake followers, so
His followers are real. Sure.
I honestly don't give a fuck.
I'm sure Snoop Dogg's media agency hasn't ever paid for any likes or followers. You're right.
We don't care how many people follow us, to be honest.
They were Snoop Dogg.
Hey, maybe we'll have to get him on here and see what the followers do.
Maybe that.
There are hints of 034 Motorsport potentially supporting a larger turbo than TTE anywhere. Nothing currently. Our focus right now is bringing the Stage 3 options to market, which would be TT 710 and the Pure 750 options. There will certainly be more. I mean, we're so early in the development of this. I'm sure at some point we'll be slapping 1,000 horsepower or something on one of these, but maybe by February. But nothing to report currently. Right now what we're proposing is basically a 9-second car with the two Stage 3 options that we've mentioned. Good morning. Looking to install Dynamic Plus front and rear end links and density line control arm kit on my C7.5 S6. Should I expect any noticeable NVH? No, not with the control arms or the Dynamic Plus end links. There will be 0 additional NVH, and the reason for that is the end links just simply don't add any NVH. They're along for the ride. They don't isolate anything from anything else. The control arms don't, because they are factory control arms with molded rubber bushings in the arms, and these bushings are torsion twist bushings. So as the suspension moves through its range, the control arm does not pivot on a joint. It actually twists the rubber bushing. So we're able to stiffen those bushings up some, but we're limited on how much we can stiffen them, because at some point a certain durometer of stiffness won't have enough elasticity for that level or that amount of twist, and the bushings would fail. So while they're stiffer and better than stock, they're not that much stiffer than stock, and they're definitely better. So no, you won't notice any more NVH. What you will notice is basically like that new car feel, like how the car felt early on when the bushings were tight and firm. Our customers report really good stuff.
Yeah. If anything, it should be probably a quieter, smoother ride.
Yeah.
Obviously, because now you've got nice, fresh suspension components that aren't rattling around in there.
Someone's asking, what kind of weight should we expect with the Flowform wheels? We're targeting the same type of weight as other Flowform wheels on the market, but our goal is to have a stronger wheel. So that means putting the material in the right places compared to some of the other companies doing this. Our experience running Flowform wheels from two major, well-known Flowform wheel manufacturing companies in our industry has been pretty bad. Those wheels have been soft and bent continually. We in-house, to my knowledge, certainly I don't believe we've ever bent one of our forged wheels or damaged one.
Mark's tried really hard.
We've tried.
Yeah.
I have.
He's done some terrible things.
I must have 60, 70,000 miles on cars with those wheels, and I've never bent one. When I had Flowform wheels on there, I would bend them all the time, and so would other people. And every time we go to the track, cars would come back with a bent wheel or two. So we're testing for all that. That's not acceptable to us. I think other companies are just happy to sell you another wheel for however much they cost, $200, but $300, but that's not what we're looking to do. So.
I'm pretty sure he's just a
No,
misguided troll.
I think someone's just fucking with us.
I can't imagine he's that incompetent.
B9 Stage 193. It's probably Laszlo. How safe is it to run on bone stock car? Extremely safe.
Yeah, it's designed on a bone stock car. We tested the crap out of it stock.
Forums keep chatting about heat soak.
Yep.
I don't track the car and mainly daily with some spirited driving.
Yeah.
Okay, well, because it's possible with other tunes on the market, it could be a problem. We keep all the factory safety features intact. So if your intercooler does heat soak, our ECU tuning is going to lower the boost and make things safe. So the point is you cannot hurt your car by heat soaking it because the ECU is in control of the safety.
Right. Your performance will deteriorate rapidly. That's going to happen just because we're reining things.
That's the safe thing.
Yeah, reining things in. It's so yeah. I mean, if you want more sustained performance and honestly better performance mid pole for even a single pole, yeah, you can throw an intercooler on there. But it's not. You're not going to hurt it by not throwing an intercooler on. We would anything like that. We would put it in the required hardware for any calibrations. Stage 1 tunes we are going to try and shoot for nothing bone stock compatibility.
Yeah. Someone kind of what I talked about earlier. What is 034 doing to make sure the B8 B8.5 could compete with the B9 S4 hybrid turbo? Will the B8 B8.5 S4 ever be able to compete? I mean, I answered this in the beginning.
Yeah,
we're not going to go out of our way to, I mean, there's could a B8 keep up with a B9 with the right kind of modifications? Sure. Would anyone buy that? Is that something anyone would pay for? Is that a realistic level of modification for a B8? Probably not.
Yeah.
We will continue to offer performance gains and improvements for the B8, but how much power and performance the B8 produces has absolutely nothing to do with how much power and performance the B9 produces. Like from an engineering and physics standpoint, the two realities are unrelated. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is the B8 has a wonderful supercharger power adder device, which creates a very linear, fast responding power curve that produces, easily 550 to 600 crank horsepower on bolt-ons,
which is insane.
Which is ridiculous
compared to what those were delivered with from the factory and what we're able to get out of them these days.
But the fact of the matter is, the B9 has a turbocharger, so the power adder device can just be swapped for bigger and bigger ones, and so there's no limiting factor.
Well, and not to say the supercharger can't, but you're like factor of 4 cost increase to swap.
You want to swap your supercharger? No problem. It's
20 grand to get it all done right and get intercooling that'll work
easily, and then you're still limited on intercooling.
Yeah, well, and that's you got to then divorce and run a separate intercooler somehow because there's just packaging constraints. So it's
going to be 30-40 grand.
It adds up so fast to make a production kit. That's
or you can do a hybrid for I don't know whatever they are. 3 grand.
3-4 grand for with no core.
Yeah, so 5 grand out the door with no core charge for a bolt-in turbo that fits in the stock location.
Or 24 if you sit there.
Yeah,
or 2,500
less if you spend.
If you do the core charge, and that's the reality. So the power adder device is just very expensive and tough to change on the B8, and the B9 has. Now the problem with the B9 is it has a laggy turbocharger on it, which is. Again, we always talk about compromise.
Yeah, that goes back to what I said earlier. Is the B8 still has a lot going for it. It's got a instant throttle response, power adder. It's got instant shifts. The ZF8s are really good. The DL501 is also really good. They each have their pluses and minuses. So, there's benefits to both platforms.
Yeah, and it's up to you if you want to continue to do some marginal improvements to your B8, or if you want to just jump ship and go B9. And there's good arguments to be made for either, but again, they're totally unrelated to each other, and we are modifying and optimizing the B8 as much as we can in a way that the market would pay for it as legitimate products and modifications. I mean, if you go back 5 years, APR did a 25% $5,000 supercharger upgrade kit for the B8. It was slower than the stock supercharger because their tuning wasn't good, and nobody bought any,
Well,
and it still was
just
limited by
super
intercooler.
expensive. Yeah, and then the
Yeah, it's limited
intercooler
by
is the biggest problem. With that is to repackage. You either have to fundamentally change how things are packaged and divorce the supercharger from the manifold and reroute everything and run a big front mount or some other separate air liquid air intercooler.
Yeah.
Or you're constrained to 3 inches of vertical space to get an intercooler in there, and that's just not enough for 600 plus horsepower.
B8s are in a great place right now, and they make a ton of power, and they're very fast. So,
And we are still working on. We've got a lot of development coming this year for them.
what type of ride quality would someone see out of the dynamic lowering springs for the B9 A4, currently on factory support suspension? I love the B9 A4. I talk about it all the time. Our springs are awesome on that car. It does stiffen the ride up just a slight amount. I've never heard anyone complain about it. It really transforms how the car handles. It makes the car handle flatter. The lower center of gravity really helps the car have more corner speed. So I would strongly recommend it as a very livable option. Could have been a factory option. The factory sport suspension is just a little bit lower than the non-A4 one. But no, it's wonderful. I drove that car on that suspension for a couple years, and I loved it. I still really like that car.
We're getting another one.
Yep. RS start for B8 3.0 T. Make it sound like a 4.2 V8.
No, it's the rev and burble down. Yeah, maybe someday when we're in there doing some other things, we'll play with that. Not on the top of our development list right now.
Yeah, it's something we'll consider. Are you guys making a high pressure fuel pump upgrade for the B8 S4? Yes, we are. Yep. No ETA, but it's coming. Any solutions coming for the wind buffeting found on the windows down of two-door Audis? I think four doors do it too.
They all,
Actually, we have some anti-buffeting window wedges coming. There are molded plastic, triangular shaped aerodynamic devices that can attach to pretty much any car, but certainly popular Volkswagen, Audi, and BMW.
It's only been like 4 years in the making for that.
It's taken us a while to do them because
We've had them for a very long time.
It took the company like 3 years to get the logo right, but they will attach with double-sided 3M VHB.
Yep.
And we've been running them on cars here.
Yeah,
for
we've
years.
got prototypes and stuff on the TTRSs. It needs them. You're going to be tracking it.
You can actually drive with the windows down. It's really
insane how much of a difference that little tweak makes.
It breaks up that resonance right at the window, the Coke bottle effect. It just breaks that up, so the air doesn't flow and resonate over the window.
The 8S chassis is like concussive if you want to try and rip down a front straight with both windows down.
I don't know, it makes me want to throw up. Yeah, there's some upchuck frequency.
It's not engineered to be driven with the windows down.
Just here to shout out thanks for still making things for the B5. All right.
As long as you guys keep needing them and buying them, we're going to keep making them.
Yeah. We still sell tons of B5 parts. Thank you for buying them. Honestly, it should be us saying thank you. I mean,
exactly. It goes the other way.
Because you guys buy the parts, we continue to sell them. When you stop buying the parts, there's nothing we can do to keep them going. We're not in the business of putting parts on the shelf that don't sell. That's not how business works. Not this one, anyways. Just to talk about Q7 tuning.
Oh, now we're gonna get all these in.
Yeah, so I did recently get a Q7 for hauling the kids around, and I think with the success of the SQ5 program and the SUVs in general, I mean, now the last couple of weeks I've been thinking about buying the Q7. I've just started noticing just how many Audi SUVs there are. I mean, they're just everywhere. I was up in the mountains yesterday, and like at one point there was like 7 cars in view of me, and they were all like Q5s, SQ5s, and other Q7s, just like mine. So they're really great cars. pretty thrilled at how well the car drives just out of the box. It's a quick car. The 3.0 T supercharged motor is awesome. And so the goal here will be to give it the Dynamic Plus treatment, and so basically ZTF wheels, Dynamic Plus lowering springs, sway bars, our upgraded brake rotors, and an ECU tuning program. Probably not as extensive as what you're seeing for the S4 platform, but certainly like a stage 2 option, and get the power up. With an upgraded intercooler.
Yeah, those have
basic.
Yeah, those have clutched superchargers. So there are some limits there that are gonna have to be kept in mind for most people going for tuning on those.
But it'll be a fun, exciting platform. Again, they're great cars. It's a 7-seat option vehicle on the market. There's not a lot of them. And they're actually kind of, they're I'm not going to say cheap, but they're reasonably priced.
It's a lot of car. Yeah.
You can get one in the 30s, one of these newer Q7s. The older ones are even cheaper. The one I just got's a 2018. It was like high 40s, but it's basically a brand new car. It has the B9 style digital dash and interior.
Yep. Really
nice options. It's got a fart evacuator, which I appreciate. So yeah, no, it's good stuff. Stay tuned for more about that.
We are getting inundated.
We have a lot of questions here.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Okay. Any status updates on D2 control arms? I'll just say I know the arms are finally here, and now we're limited on the number of bushings we have, and because we've just been riddled with supply chain issues. But I believe we'll be shipping some out in the next week or two. Limited by the amount of parts we have on hand. But I will ask the marketing team to release more information on that. I believe there was some conversations about that earlier this year. 5-second recap on the B9 stuff I missed. Yes. Hybrid turbo stage 3 kit, 10.1 quarter mile teaser
at 130.
Get excited. Okay. What quarter mile times are you running stage 1 on B9 RS5? We will be teasing some info about that soon. I know last week we went out and did some dragging runs. They were very good. Yep. The tuning's not quite done yet or anything.
No, it's not. We're mid development on it right now.
And so we don't want to put too much out there, and then we're happy to do teasers, but just hang in there. It's awesome.
The testing we did was like bone stock car, everything.
Yep. And it's like
it had a flash, and
I think it'll alleviate a lot of RS5 owners' concerns that the B8 S4 is the better car or something.
There's been like a bunch of that going on, at least on Instagram. It's like, well, the S4 and the S5 are the ones you need to buy right now, and the RSs you gotta, are getting left in the dust. So just wait.
The RS turbo package is
the RS stuff is coming.
Much more powerful than what
they're gonna be fast.
B9.5 S4 Stage 2 TCU ETA.
Yeah, we're working on those. I don't have a definite ETA, but it is in our wheelhouse. We're getting that done as quick as we can for you.
Engine internals for the B8 piston rings are buckling at negative D8 from D8.
Actually, I'm glad this came up. I saw this on the Facebook or something a couple days ago. People think that a low DA on a stage 2 tune is too much power for the motor apparently, and is damaging rings.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. I have no idea.
I don't even know what buckle and rings don't.
I have no idea why. Like someone came up with this theory, but no, it is not from cold air. It is not from anything like you can't have too low of a DA to go do a rip on it. If you're out there and you're hammering on it and something fails, there's probably a reason for it, and I doubt it's the DA. The DA might have helped present whatever weakness was there, but so many of these cars are getting up there in mileage, and we've been kind of hammering over and over again that injectors are very much a maintenance item these days, and I still don't see many people swapping them out until it's too late. So again, if you're up there in mileage, you've got any kind of weirdness, I would say, and the injector age is unknown, just replace it. They're not worth cleaning. They're not worth servicing or just swapping these around. Just get a new set of injectors in there. Chances are it'll clean up a lot of your issues if you've gone through the normal stuff that's been kind of traditional. The intercoolers, the coil.
It can't hurt to buy another set of injectors, then send your old ones out to have them cleaned, and then just swap them
We
in.
cleaned a set and they did not come back. So we sent a set out to be cleaned and they did not.
They were not able to clean.
They reported fine. They did not perform as they should have.
Oh,
We still had to put new
Oh.
injectors in. So on those, I would say it's not worth it. You can send them out to be flow tested. I would recommend that. It's not that expensive if you really want to know
that's true.
where things were at. We had
Well, every time we flow tested any,
we just had them
it's
clean
terrible.
it. Well, yeah, in all of the ones we flow tested that were from questionable motors that had issues, the injectors were horrible. So
let's keep going through
yep,
these.
we had a lot of questions here.
Once again, asking, thank you, Bernie, for B8.5 2.0 ECU TCU tunes. It's still in queue, it's still being prioritized. No ETA at this time.
We do have a calibrator position up on our website on our
Yes.
job posting page. So.
Would you support a larger blower for the B8 V6? Probably not. We've looked into it, we've considered it. It's extremely expensive.
And they're so limited. Like there's just a handful of the Magnusons out there that are doing anything. And we have,
Like the fastest cars are on stock superchargers in the world, by far. I purchased the Dynamic Plus lowering springs for my 2018 S3. It's important to me to not lose any comfort. Advise on the best setup to accomplish this. OEM struts, bearing sleeves. Yeah, I mean, our springs are designed to use with OEM struts. If you're worried about comfort, you could stick with the OEM strut bearings. We sell and recommend the OEM strut bearings. The OEM strut mount is probably a little bit more comfortable than our density mounts, which are a little stiffer, although I really don't think our density mounts add a lot of NVH. But I believe with our springs, you will be happy with the ride quality and the NVH changes.
Yeah.
I would also recommend our sway bars, front and rear. Those are not going to add any issues with ride comfort or NVH, but the springs and the sway bars will transform the way the car
I'm gonna
drives.
say it's been a while since I've back to back to those, but the S3 in particular, I believe, was one that was pretty over dampened. I don't know where you are, but in the US, we got a softer spring package than Europe, and the shocks were not well matched to it. And it actually rode better when you put our springs on it.
We were able to match it better.
Yeah, the Euro cars, maybe those rode better. I haven't had enough seat time and want to know, but in the US, they were. I think they were over dampened for the springs they came with.
Yeah. No, you'll be very happy with that. Stay away from our motorsport products.
Yeah, if you want it quiet and comfortable.
The inserts can add some NVH, although I would say if you just do the dog bone upper and lower inserts, that should not add much, if any, NVH. Although in reverse, you may notice some more NVH. But just the springs and the sway bars, just in around town driving, when you're just cutting around a corner, you'll just notice it. I mean, even if the car is nowhere near the limb, the car will feel quicker and more responsive. Can you discuss the difference between Stage 1 and Stage 2 on the B9 3.0? I love Stage 2 when I'm on the throttle and driving hard, but off throttle cruising, I think I'm hearing droning from the downpipe. And I'm wondering if the car
In mid RPMs.
in mid RPMs has a different feel, or am I hallucinating? Well, the downpipe's going to make your exhaust louder, and you're going to hear more of the engine sound.
And yeah, droning and that kind of thing. I don't know what exhaust you're running, but yeah, it's definitely more prevalent with a.
Personally, I love the B9 S4 with just a high flow cat and a stock exhaust. I think that's a really nice sounding setup, and I didn't notice any droning. Now, if you do like the Res X, you will get some drone, and the exhaust will be quite a bit louder. But the differences are just really, there's really no difference other than Stage 2's optimized for not having a cat, and it makes a little bit more power. But the drivability and everything else should be about the same. So I think there's a very psychological aspect to how your car sounds. A lot of people say that their car feels faster and drives nicer after it's been washed and waxed.
It's much slicker.
Like that's a thing, right? So if the louder exhaust is bothering you, I can't imagine you'd have an issue with it with a fully stock exhaust just with the high flow cat. I don't know, but you may want to go back to Stage 1 if that drone is getting in your head and see past it. But you should be able to. But that's going to be up to you. Someone says they sent us some bushings.
This is going back to the D2.
And this person says he wonders what's really going on. Well, sir, I spoke to you through private message, and I told you exactly what's going on. We did send back your bushings because we don't want to use random bushings that someone sent us. Sorry. That's not how we do things here. So it will take longer to get our correct density bushings in. I believe you sent us some stock bushings, and that's not our product. Our product is not designed to be used with random stock unspecified bushings. If you want to do that yourself, you could, but nobody is lying to you, and I spoke to you directly about this. So I don't know if you're just trying to stir the pot or you're bored or what's going on, but I would just say, like, we're being honest, we're being direct. You spoke to me directly. I don't know what your deal is. So.
There's no conspiracies here.
Yeah.
We're getting things going through as quickly as we can. The supply chain is a cluster.
We've been open about our supply chain issues, which everybody's having. You can go on the news and read all about it. And, I'm sure even OEM is talking. When will R7 be uploaded to the rest of the C7, A6,
Yep.
A7, and Q5?
So the advanced launch stuff is coming for the rest of the AL551 3 liters. I'd say in the next probably couple weeks. We'll get the rest of those up.
A couple more weeks, okay. just like it's frustrating because people contact me on my personal Facebook, which is where I post about like bike riding and cooking and my kids. But I give them some information. I shouldn't, but I think I'm helping. And then it spawns this whole conspiracy theory when the things I say get misconstrued and twisted. So I don't know. I guess I just need to stop saying anything. But that's kind of the reality, sir, you're cultivating by stirring the pot. I like being available. I like being open and transparent. We say a lot here on the live chat, but when it gets twisted and turned around on us, it's like, well,
Why bother?
why do we even say anything? Like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It sucks. If we could ship these control arms, we would. If you want a refund, just ask for one. We'll be happy to give it to you.
Yep.
Happy. But I'd rather give you a refund than be accused of lying or whatever. Any updates on the DAZA surge tank? Same as always. Manufacturing delays. Parts and products are on the way. We don't have a release date. I really wish we could start shipping them today, but it will be a little bit longer. But the good news is the engineering and design is finished. All products and subcomponents have been spec'd and sourced or are being manufactured now. Any plans for 4.0T engine tuning in the pipeline? So I think we've backed away from 4.0T tuning to some degree. We're going to be doing it on our S4.0T project.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, we're not sure if we want to just dive in head first and deprioritize other things that are on the tuning platform, considering there's already some fine S4 4.0T or S6 4.0T tuning options on the market already. So we won't necessarily be reinventing the wheel or bringing anything new other than our unique perspective. So it's still something we're thinking about and working on, but nothing definitive. Wow, a lot of questions today.
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. It just came on stream too.
I'm reading that right now.
When are 4.0T engine mounts available? We don't have an ETA yet. Again, we're trying to get them in as quickly as possible. Do you think single pulley or dual pulley is better for daily drive? I don't think it matters, right?
I mean, it depends on what dual pulley. There's a couple of different size combos. It depends on the kind of driving, and fuel. Again, it's going to come back to what kind of fuel you're running. Daily driving, I would say probably a dual pulley is going to feel really nice around town. You get that extra mid-range where that's where you're generally going to be operating for daily driving stuff. So, personally, I like sticking to the smaller dual pulley setups. So like a 179 or whatever lower, which actually leads into another question we had just come in. Which is, would you recommend the 179 millimeter for the Stage 2 Plus for hotter climates, or would the 190 not have that much of a difference of heat? The 190 has quite a bit different, is quite a bit more of a heat pump. The supercharger is already well out of its peak efficiency range. The faster and faster you spin them, the hotter and hotter it's going to get. And I'd say the 179 for like if you're really going to be hammering on it, if you're in a hot climate, if you're going to be on track, I will recommend the 179 any day of the week. And even our fastest quarter mile guy, I think we're on 184s. I don't even think I don't even think we have a 190 that was running on our record setting quarter mile stuff. So it's some people really like that strong mid range. Personally, I'd like to just have a setup that's much more well rounded throughout the entire power band. So I prefer the smaller dual pulley configuration.
Can I safely use the Stage 1 E85 tune on the B9 S4 if I fill up completely from, let's say, RaceTrac or Sunoco E85 pump gas?
We have a really good clip out of this, I think, on how to manage your ethanol content, where you're going to always recommend you get a gauge in the car or some sort of device that you can measure the content and know.
A gauge or an app or what?
Yeah, I mean, there's app-based ones, so you don't even have to have a
P3
gauge in the
stuff.
car. There's P3 stuff. There's
AM Innovate.
Yep, Fuel It, AM Innovate. There's tons of
Amazon
kits out
Basics has one, I think.
there. In our opinion, it's not worth guessing or hoping it's got you've got the ethanol at the motor. It's so easy to know these days.
Any further info on upcoming S3, RS3 ball joints with camber? Yeah, so these are basically an MQB ball joint option. We have been doing some final testing on production samples, and it's gone very well. I believe we'll be releasing them very soon. And these give some additional caster and camber, but most importantly, they correct the geometry of the lower control arm on lowered cars. So the ball joint shaft is actually longer, so it repositions the lower control arm into a more optimal position to prevent things like bump steer and unwanted alignment changes. Super high quality part, and factory replacement part, totally reversible. Would eliminate the need for camber mounts up top, although with our new camber caster mounts that we're releasing soon, you can gain some additional caster, a little bit more camber, then you can get the camber with the ball joints. The other thing that's beneficial is when you do here's your factory wheel and tire. When you do a camber mount, you're moving things like this. When you do a ball joint, you're moving things like this. So you have options on where you put the wheel. When you adjust camber with the ball joint, you're actually increasing the front track width, which is beneficial. And then you can also kind of optimize your fender clearance if you're having wheel and tire issues as well. So if you want to actually move your wheel and tire out into the fender, you can do the camber with the ball joint. If you want to move it in, you would do it with the strut top.
Yep.
So we have plenty of options, and then there's these really nasty bolt-in blocks that I've seen people using that are available on eBay and from other tuners. I really don't like that idea. Those look terrifying. But it basically is this aluminum block spacer that moves the control arm down, and they look like a disaster. I would not recommend using that. So this is the right way to do it.
This.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, someone says, are you guys planning on giving an honest answer to why you're not shipping parts apart from blaming supply chain? Well, what?
Has anyone looked at any news
What-
station,
I would-
any information outlet?
I would ask, what evidence do you have that we're lying? You have.
Why wouldn't we ship product if we have
I think we live in this age of conspiracy theory where knuckleheads on the internet dumb thoughts come to their head and they somehow think there's any validity to them, and they've really uncovered some salacious piece of news or everything should be evidence-based, sir. So if you have evidence that we are not shipping parts that are in stock, we're shipping hundreds of orders a day of in-stock products. But I don't even think, if you don't want to be our customer, then don't.
Find someone else that's got it in stock, because if everybody else has everything in stock, you might want to go to them. But I'm pretty sure you're going to be running into the same issue across the board, across the markets.
We shouldn't have to respond to
This is
conspiracy theory stuff.
absurd.
I've just updated my B8 SQ5 with advanced launch control finally, and I love. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're happy. So great to hear. Out of curiosity, can I launch in reverse?
Recommend.
Don't
That's
do
a
it.
conspiracy.
No, but could you though? Like if you're on an airport, a controlled environment.
If you want to break some shit, yeah. Because generally, just FYI, across the board, reverse gears are really little because
Yeah.
they just need to go slowly and gently in reverse.
He said LOL, but I don't think he's
Just put it out there. No, don't do it. You'll probably shred a gear.
If your life's depending on it, though, maybe do it.
Sure. But
Conspiracy theories.
conspiracy theories, yeah.
Be willing to
It's,
accept the
Yeah,
consequences.
reverse gears in general are a much weaker gear. They're generally a straight cut gear, which is why, well, they used to be, which is why they wind a lot. But yeah, strength is not something they factor into the reverse gear for many reasons.
Pure turbos have gotten a really bad reputation for failing on the B9 S4 over the last 2 years. Would you tune TTE's Stage 2 instead?
TurboSystems Stage.
Yeah.
TS2.
Oh.
It's not TT.
Oh, TurboSystems is another company I've never.
I mean, it's going to depend on the market. Mostly, it's
I mean, we would tune any turbo if there was a market for it. I'm not aware of issues with pure turbos, but you know, maybe it's a thing. We have a pure turbo 750 that we're planning on using. Certainly, if we have any issues with it, we would note that. The TTE stuff's always been great. We've used a lot of their turbos. Turbos in general are problematic. Factory turbos, OEM turbos. I remember when KO4 turbos were super popular on Stage 3 S4s. They had a very high failure rate. It was a nightmare. We used to sell like 10, 15 KO4 turbo sets a week, and some percent of those every week would go bad, and we would have to deal with it. And typically it came back to user error, installation issues, and things like that. But turbos are very sensitive devices. They have to be installed correctly. They need proper oiling. And then a lot of times the turbo blows because of some other issue in the engine system. And then people just think that the turbo just blew for no reason. So they replace the turbo, but the root cause persists. And then the new set of turbos get taken out as well. So fortunately, the kind of stuff we're doing with B9s, people are not replacing blown turbos. They're just simply swapping over to something bigger. So that root cause issue isn't there. So that's good.
Yep.
But I guess I'd have to learn more about the pure turbo issues and things like that.
Yeah, and I've seen some other stuff crop up with similar things have been said about TTEs, but
Yeah,
without knowing all of the
plenty of
variables and all of the conditions that the turbos have been running, we can't speak to each other without testing it ourselves, finding the limits ourselves, and yeah.
But specifically, this is why we don't just sell like lots of turbos on our website. Like we don't just sell PT turbos. We would only sell them as part of a kit or a package because that's not a good business for us to be. Do you have to recalibrate OE electronic dampers when adding lowering springs? No, you don't need to. You can. We haven't really ever seen a difference.
We've tried it both before and after, and it's not a requirement. There's some guys that think it's absolutely required, and if you do it, we have not seen that on any of our kits.
I just bought a Mark 7 GTI, 50,000 miles. What would you recommend doing to it, maintenance, performance-wise? As far as maintenance, I would just take it to a reputable shop and have them go through it. Make sure you're doing all the factory maintenance.
Yep.
As far as performance and modifications, congratulations. It's an amazing platform. I would recommend you go onto our website and put your make and model in and load up our catalog. But certainly our tuning and our suspension modifications, our inserts, these all greatly change and improve the driving experience and make that car just really, really fun to drive. They're a blast.
Yeah, but yeah, there's lots of maintenance guides out there too. If you want to try and do it yourself, 50,000 miles, I would say if you don't know if it's been done, a DSG service and fluid change is probably a good thing. That would be like outside of normal maintenance thing I could think of offhand.
Yeah. So, all right.
We're getting to
I think we're
this here.
pretty much done.
Touch this one.
We got time.
I don't have time for that.
I mean, feel
Conspiracy
free to
theorists are strong here.
Conspiracy theorist is moving on to buying from another company. Congratulations, good choice.
Again, we are
IS38 GTI ETA. I don't know if we have an ETA, but it's being worked on.
being worked on.
Yeah.
We've got some other testing that came up that we're doing right now. We want to get that wrapped up. The IS20 stuff.
I put a bunch of miles on our our Golf R with the EQT turbo kit, which is really fun. I think I talked about how fun that car was to drive last week. So yeah, it's all good.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We will keep shipping
Every order we
that are
can.
in stock.
We are inventorying and stocking everything we can as quickly as we can.
And we'll go from there.
No conspiracy at play here. So
All right. Cheers. You guys have a good week. We'll see you next week.
take care, guys.